Welcome back to a brand new video, everyone. So this week we finally got our Avengers Doomsday cast, and I gotta say, pretty amazing so far, the cast. And it's not the full cast, but with Marvel and their secrecy and stuff, there's a lot more to be explored later down the road. Let's just get right into it. Confirmed cast that we have so far for Avengers Doomsday, we have Pedro Pascal, Mr. Fantastic. All the Fantastic Four are returning, so that's just 4 of them right there. We have some people from the Black Panther series returning, such as Winston Duke, M'Baku, Namor is coming back. Some of the Thunderbolts cast is coming back as well. David Harbour as Red Guardian, Wyatt Russell as US Agent, and Hannah John Kamen as Ghost. But she's not really a fan favorite. I mean, I don't know who's the biggest fan of Ghost. I mean, she's pretty lackluster in my opinion. I really don't know why they're bringing them back. A lot of X-Men are returning. Patrick Stewart as Professor X is returning. Ian McKellen's Magneto, that's a big one. Channing Tatum, I mean, love him or hate him, he's Gambit, right? Rebecca Robson, sorry if I'm mispronouncing that, but OG Mystique from the OG trilogy of X-Men. Not Jennifer Lawrence, as she has stated that she is not a huge fan of putting on all that makeup and just the process of it, so they're going back to their roots, which is really nice. James Marsden as Cyclops is returning. Kelsey Grammer's Beast, as we know that he returned in the post-credit scene of the Marvels, so he's returning. Alan Cumming as Nightcrawler is also coming back, which is pretty cool. We haven't seen him in over 20 years. That's awesome. Danny Ramirez as Falcon and Lewis Pullman as Sentry is also returning. Fans are actually upset at Marvel because it kind of spoiled Thunderbolts in a way, and we kind of know what to expect now and who lives, and a lot of people are speculating that Taskmaster is going to not make it. We also have Yelena returning. I don't know if I mentioned her or not, but Yelena is also returning. Shuri, yeah, that's pretty much it so far. Oh well, Dr. Doom, Robert Downey Jr. is returning as the villain of the film, the next 2 films I should say. Yeah, I mean, overall I've been actually reading up upon, just online, watching videos of just people's overall perspective of what they think so far about all the news and kind of just like the current state of Marvel. So I would say there's about 2 sides here. I would say about maybe 90% of fans feel like Doomsday is a little bit rushed. I would say so in a way, because if you just take a look at the current state of Marvel, it's not the best shape at the moment, and I know it kind of leaves some fans wanting a little bit more of cohesive stories instead of cameos, and more grounded films, such as people want the next Spider-Man film to be grounded, not the multiversal level type of threat anymore. I get it, people want the groundedness of it, but at the same time I'm like, well, we're not gonna get that because we're literally in the quote-unquote end game of the multiverse saga, and Marvel's got to wrap it up, and this is how they're gonna wrap it up. They're gonna wrap it up with them in prior years, just because due to the right situations, with Disney, Fox, and whatnot, and now we're actually able to get that. I'm just like, okay, that's awesome, but is it gonna be done right, or is it gonna be just thrown all at us, at the fans, right? And I feel like it's just going to be thrown at us, right? Because it's like they revealed all these names with the chairs, and it's cool, right, at first, but then it's like, well, I don't know, can they pull it off, and I just don't know if they will be able to pull it off in the first place or not. Like I said, people want those more cohesive stories, and like the Russos are returning, and some have said that the Russos probably not the best choice to come back just because of their current films that they have made outside of the Marvel realm. Those stories and those movies haven't been the greatest, but I do trust them in a way. I mean, they did give us Infinity War and Endgame. They know how to work with the big cast. I mean, if you look at Infinity War and Endgame, at first glance, right, there are a lot of characters in Infinity War, but what they did is they split up the teams throughout the span of the film. So it's not just all 40 characters inside of a room together just like talking and fighting and all that. So I think that's what they're going to do with Doomsday and Secret Wars in the next 2 to 3 years or so. They are going to split up the teams in the film, and we're going to follow different teams, just sort of see how the story unfolds. So with the cast that we did get, we did not get other characters such as Hulk, Spider-Man, Daredevil. This is leaving fans sort of wondering if if they are going to be in the film or not. And I do think they will, but again, like I said earlier in the video, fans, Marvel does want to keep those secrets, and they gave us some names, but only to hype us up and to start talking. And I also think this is maybe sort of an experiment. They want to see what fans are thinking right now with these names and characters that were given to us, and I think they're listening in very closely on how we are receiving the reception of the news that they give us. I don't know when it's going to be revealed. They say it might be revealed next week at CinemaCon or during Comic-Con later in the summer in July, so we'll see if they review any more details for the next Avengers film. Avengers 5, even saying Avengers 5 is kind of insane. Who knew that we would be here? But I do think Marvel is planning some more announcements for the rest of the cast. It should be fun. It should be interesting. Crazy to think that the movie is in production now, and we will be getting more news going forward. So yeah, people are just ultimately, kind of puzzled right now, because it's like people do want to have the next 2 films delayed. They think that the film comes out in 14 months. That's not the longest time ever. It's in 1 year from now, and it's like now they're in pre-production, right? And then they have to film it, and then they have to do post-production, all the editing, making everything look nice, finishing up that CGI. And it's like, are we able to get a cohesive story in about a year? Because what people think that they should do is at least 1 year for writing, another year for shooting, and then another year, at least a minimum, for editing. And Marvel is just like pumping this thing out in a year, and it's like, will it even look good? So there's that argument there, and there's just other arguments where people just kind of don't care, and they just want it all, and they just want all the everything, all the characters all in one film. And like, again, it does sound cool, and I've even asked some people, it's like, okay, well, if you don't want this film with all these different teams involved, what would you want instead? I've have people ask themselves that. It's like, would you want the current state of the Avengers going up against Doom? The current state that we have is not the funnest or coolest lineup of heroes that we have left. The OG6 are gone, right? We have Sam Wilson as Falcon, Captain America, and not everyone agrees with that. I'm sort of in the middle of that, I won't get into that. And we have the Marvels, Captain Marvel, Kamala, Monica Rambeau, 2 Hawkeyes. Like, it's just not the greatest lineup of heroes left. And I do think that with the next 2 Avengers films, because the multiverse is involved, I do think that Marvel is just gonna bring back everyone, including Iron Man, somehow, some way. They're gonna pull a variant. It might be Superior Iron Man. I think that's the greatest probably guess I could go with as far as variants. And they might do the whole Superior Iron Man. As far as Chris Evans, he was into that in returning, but we don't know for sure. Chris Evans did say that he would only come back if it was done right, story-wise, of course, because those OG6 have kind of had their send-off. It's more specifically talking about Iron Man, Black Widow, and Captain America. The only ones we have left is Thor, Hawkeye, and Hulk. Those guys are split up too. Thor's doing his own thing, Hulk's doing his own thing, and Hawkeye has PTSD. So I get it. Man's been through like 2 wars, so much fighting in his life. If they want to hype it up, they got to bring back the OG X-Men. That's the only way that this thing could probably work, but at what cost, right? It's probably just going to be fun at first. It's going to be a fun ride, just like Deadpool 3. Deadpool 3 was fun. Do I think it has rewatchability? Yes and no. The cameos weren't too over the top. I really did enjoy those. So if they can kind of keep that sort of level of cameos in the next one, then it could work. Again, this is the Russos. They're fans themselves making these films. So, I do have some bit of trust in them, and I don't think they're going to mess it up because it is a Marvel film. So, yeah, that's pretty much the news. And, it's pretty crazy that we are getting, a year from now, we're getting probably one of the biggest movies ever in the century. And just a year after Doomsday does release, we're getting Secret Wars. And that film is going to be where crossovers that we hadn't ever dreamed of could happen. And Although I'm looking forward to it, I am a little bit worried just because of just story-wise, like how will it work? What will it look like in any case? So what do you guys think? Are you guys excited for the next 2 Avengers films? Do you guys want to see all these characters cross over, Fantastic Four, X-Men, and Avengers? Or would you just rather have it just be a individual team led by the Avengers fighting Doom? That's the video. Let me know what you guys all think down below. Would love to hear it. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.